Welcome to my channel. I'm Jillian, and today I'm going to give you 5 tips that you can implement right now that will help encourage your child to play independently for longer stretches of time. This is going to be quick, so let's just jump right in. Okay, tip number 1 is a little bit of a two-parter. So wherever you want your kids playing independently, I encourage you to be in the room with them, but while you're there, try to limit the amount of feedback and conversation that you're giving them. I have noticed that this makes a huge difference. So as far as being in the room, proximity, at least for my kids, really helps. I think it's something subconscious in them that knows, like, if I can see mom, if she's right there, I don't need to wonder where she's at or what she's doing. So even if I'm doing my own thing, like reading my Bible or journaling or working on my laptop or whatever, being in the room, even if I'm across the room and even if I'm not talking, it really limits the amount of times that I hear them ask for me or what I'm doing or where I'm at or if they can help or whatever. They seem to be more focused if they just know that I am in eyeshot for them. And then while I'm in the room, I have had to work really hard at limiting the amount of feedback that I give my kids when they play, even if it's totally lighthearted and fun and I'm excited about something they're doing. So we know that when kids are playing, that is their work. Their brains are working so hard. They're figuring things out and making new connections. They are learning so much through play. And so it can be overstimulating for them if they're trying to play and figure things out and follow their own trains of thought. It can be tough to be doing that and then having a parent interject with things like, try it this way, or this would be cool if you did this, or wait, don't do that, you might get messy. Sometimes it's too much for them to handle. So try sitting in the room and try to limit your feedback as much as you can, but I know it's hard. Tip number 2 is let your kids get messy. If my kids are doing an activity where they can get their hands dirty, literally, they will play independently and play well together for so much longer. So a couple ideas for this are things like Play-Doh, kinetic sand, water play. You can totally make happen inside or outside. So allowing your kids some activities to just get their hands dirty and let them be little and let them be messy, it might really increase the amount of time that they play independently on their own. A little sub tip for this one is, as a parent, you can absolutely pick and choose what types of messes you have the capacity for. Personally, my kids love Play-Doh, but something about the way it can dry out if you're not careful and it crumbles everywhere and it's hard to get out of carpet. I have to be really choosy in our home about where they get to play Play-Doh. Play-Doh for me is not one of my favorite independent things to give them to play. So knowing that, I'll set them up with other things. I am a lot less controlling when it comes to water play, for example. So I'll give them sponges or beakers or little water dropper things to play with, and that will keep them really busy. And it's a type of messy that I know I'm okay with. Choose the type of messy that you are okay with and roll with that. Tip number 3 is to rotate your toys and to be thoughtful about the way that you set them up. So toy rotation works wonders for my kids. How we usually do it is we have this toy shelf in here, and then we have a couple other spots in our playroom that we keep toys. And once the spots are full, so once this shelf is filled up, we don't bring anything else out. It doesn't fit on a shelf or another place that we keep the toys in the playroom. It does not come out. We leave it in the closets. We keep things in baskets and bins, kind of by category or by toy type. And then when they get tired of these things on the shelf, we take these to the closet and we fill the shelf with the things from the closet, if that makes sense. Sometimes we rotate toys weekly. Other times they'll love what's out and they'll play with it for multiple weeks on end, and we go a lot longer without rotating. It can be so overstimulating for kids to have too many options. So if you feel like your play space is crowded or there's so much to do, why aren't they just playing by themselves? Try limiting the amount of options that you give them, and you might be surprised how much longer they're willing to play. So the other part of this tip is to be thoughtful about how you set up their toys. And this sounds really silly, but it's worked for us really well. What I mean by that is when our kids go to sleep and my husband and I kind of do the house reset, get things back in their place for the next day, sometimes we'll go around the playroom and just put things in different spots. Son has a Paw Patrol tower toy and he loves it, and he has Paw Patrol characters that he can play in there. But a couple days ago, I put some of his superhero toys in the Paw Patrol tower so that when he woke up and came out and saw the superheroes in his Paw Patrol tower, it set him on this like whole other way to play with it that he didn't consider before. So try like mixing up toys or putting things in a new spot, and you might be surprised how interesting that might make it for them. So tip number 4, this one has gotten me more times than I can count, which is kind of embarrassing, but make sure their other needs are met. So make sure they have eaten recently and drink water recently. Make sure that they go to the restroom and take care of all of the things that they need to take care of before you want this independent playtime to start. This is a way that I try to remember to set myself up for success. Give a snack and a drink first. Make sure they go to the bathroom, so that way once they get started playing, they don't have a reason to need to stop. Another thing that would go in this category of making sure those needs are met first is make sure that you have spent time with them first. Even if it's just a few minutes of doing a puzzle together or watching them build a really cool tower and knocking it down. I mean, whatever it is, make sure that you've given them some like eye-to-eye connection first, because if you can fill that up, even if it's just a couple minutes before independent play starts, that is kind of checked off for them, and they know that you have seen them and that you have gotten some connected time together before they're going off to do their own thing. Number 5, the last one, if you notice that they just get bored and don't really know how to get themselves out of that loop of feeling bored and like there's nothing to do at home, you might want to consider a screen time audit. So my daughter doesn't really do screen time yet. She is 1.5, but my son is 4, and we do allow him to have screen time. And for my son, in different seasons and for many different reasons, we vary the amount of screen time that he gets to have throughout a week. Ooh, it's hot in here. We've noticed that in our home, when we do a screen time detox and my son is going like a few days at a time at least without watching a show or a movie, he is so much more creative. He is like more excited to play on his own. You can just see that it is fruitful for him to have those days where he's not watching anything. So I would encourage you to try that as well. So those are my 5 best tips to help encourage longer independent play with your children. Tell me in the comments what you do to help encourage independent play. I would love to be able to add to this list for our own house. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.